What's up, guys? It's Bob again. Today we're going to look at a Heritage Rough Rider with the Birdshead grip frame. There's tons of reviews on the Rough Rider, so I don't really need to tell you guys too much about the gun itself, but I did want to bring up this grip frame because I actually prefer it over the standard square butt grip frame. Just because it's a little bit trimmer in hand. And the square butt usually like digs into my palm right about here. Let me just set this on there real quick. This is the grip frame from an FIE Texan. They're like a cheaper zinc alloy gun, just like the Heritage is. And this one has the square butt. The reason this is just the frame is because this gun is junk. And if you see, it's actually pushing into my palm right here at the bottom. These grips will actually interchange. I think that these are replicas of the same gun. But yeah, I was just going to bring that up because I never have seen reviews on these. And I really like it. The Birdsheads are a little bit harder to find. And they're roughly the same cost. Usually when you find them, they're like 140, 150 bucks to find one. And you can actually buy this grip frame on Heritage's website because the serialized part of this is actually the actual frame. Excuse me. And I really wanted to find one. They make these guns, well, now they make them in a few different barrel lengths. They make 16-inch, I think it's 6.5 inch. This is a 4 3/4 inch, and then they make they made a 3.5 inch that I've seen, and then they just came out with their new Heritage Barkeep, which is right around, I think it's 2, maybe 2 1/8 inch. I mean, because technically you have to count the barrel to the forcing cone. You can see that butting right up against the cylinder. And I think this one was right around 150 bucks. Mine came with the 22 mag cylinder. But yeah, I actually, for some of you guys that may not like the square butt, the comfort of it, I like the Birdshead a little bit better. With some of the Rugers, you can get what's called a Bisley grip, which cuts up a little bit higher, and then it goes into a more narrow square butt, and I like those too. The reason why I'm even doing this review is because I think the Rough Rider is an awesome first gun for people, because 22, even in 22 Magnum, these guns do not kick. They have quite a bit of weight to them. Unlike some people would, maybe tell you to get a buck mark for your first gun, which I might do a review on that, or even like a full-size 9mm. I don't really recommend that, mainly because a single action 22 is really going to make you time out your shots. You have to consciously cock it, which is going to take you off target so you can aim it in again, so that's really going to get you focused on your aiming. And I don't really like it because I like classic revolvers, but it does have a safety that blocks the hammer. And I mean, if you really wanted to get someone acclimated with guns, maybe teach them dry fire practice, it blocks the hammer from contacting that firing pin, so you could dry fire this gun all day. One thing I do like about these guns is it has the 4 clicks for the old classic Colts do, where it's C-O-L-T, and I do like that. This FIE Texan that is now junk had vertical striations on the hammer, which it was pretty slick. I didn't really like that. This has more of the diamond pattern, and it does grip very well. I really like these guns. This is actually probably one of the guns that I take out more than any other gun when I shoot it. And Heritage also has a lot of accessories for their Rough Rider guns. They have gun belts, holsters, they have all kinds of holsters. You can get left-handed, right-handed, cross draw. They have one that I really like is the Mexican double loop holster. They sell bullet belts, all that kind of stuff. You got to watch out on Heritage's website though, because a lot of the ones that I seem to like are never in stock. And if I'm just going out and plinking with this thing, I actually have, it's pretty cheap. It's like a nylon style holster that I got off of Amazon that said it fit a Walther PPK. And actually, the Rough Rider fits in it, albeit the front sight may snag once in a while. This Buckmark fits in it, which this is way bigger than a PPK. So who knows? You get yourself a universal holster or something like that, and then you get a decent holster. I mean, albeit it's not a cowboy holster. But yeah, I do love these guns, and they're super simple in design. If you ever get the chance to buy, like, say, an FIE Texan or an E15, I believe it's Henry Schmidt is also one of those. They were like Saturday night special type guns, just because they don't pass melting point laws. But Heritage is basically the same thing nowadays. They're just so popular in America that everybody knows them. Where back in the day there was about 1,000 people making them. They're pretty simple. Any of you guys that might not know this gun, it's a single action 22 revolver. You can either get it in 22 long rifle or 22 Magnum. The only thing that I would say is a downside to this gun is the fact that it has fixed sights, which you can see. I painted mine orange, just to pick it up a little better when it's lower light. And then it's just got traditional trench at the rear and the orange front post on mine. It's black. These are painted. I believe the cylinder's blued, but these guns are just so simple. For you guys that don't know what a single action is, and this gun's empty. Since you see me putting my finger in the trigger guard, I know all my guns are empty. The way that you shoot this gun is you cock it back, aim, and you pull the trigger. And then it will not go off again until you pull the trigger, which revolves that cylinder. And these guns are just, they're so fun. They really bring me back. I'm a cowboy on the inside. The way that you load these is you take it back to the second notch and you see the cylinder turn partially. And then you just put a bullet in there, rotate, and you do that for each one. Now, the way that you should do it on almost all revolvers is you load one, skip the next chamber, and then load up your next 4. And then once you load up that, you cock it and let the hammer down, and that'll be on an empty chamber. Because some guns that do not have a safety or Ruger's transfer bar system, there's videos online. You can bump a hammer and the gun will go off if it's resting on a live round. And the other way that you unload this gun is once your shells are spent, you take it back to that half cock, and then it has this ejector rod that you push your rounds out with. And you'll just eject all your rounds and then reload it the exact same way. These guns are super reliable. I have, I'd say, upwards of 500-600 rounds through this one. The downside to these guns for a new shooter is, since they have fixed sights, if your gun does not shoot to point of aim, it's just an it is what it is thing. If you give me 1 second. Just going to take one of these pens real quick just to demonstrate. Let's say you have a bullseye target. And I'm doing this around my tripod, so please bear with me. And you aim here to the bullseye, and it shoots up here. That means you would have to aim down here to correct it enough to hit the bullseye. You have to do the correction, as there's very few sight modifications that you can do to really change these guns. You can file down that front sight very carefully, because once you take the metal away, it's gone forever. You can't readjust it. And if your gun, say, is shooting low left, you'll have to aim high right. I mean, these guns, they're all a little bit different. This FIE, it shot way left. So you would have to aim like dead on for your elevation and then aim right at, say, 20 feet, which this was a 6.5 inch barrel gun. So it, you know, they're all a little different. And this FIE actually developed a timing issue where it was starting to shave lead because the cylinder lockup was not that great. I ended up replacing the barrel. I just haven't got back to putting it all together. Which, that's one thing that you do have to worry about. Revolvers, you should clean them. These single actions, they're a little bit different. The way that you'll clean them is, I like to just take it back to that half cock. You flip out your loading gate, and this right here, this button with the spring, that's your base pin retainer. And then you pull this pin. This is your base pin that the cylinder revolves on, and then the cylinder just falls out. So you'll have to clean each one of these chambers. So that's almost like you're cleaning 6 barrels, as well as cleaning the barrel on the gun. And I like to spray a little bit of lube into the cylinder hand back here. That's what revolves the cylinder. Spray just a little bit down there, and it'll work its way in there. I mean, honestly, revolvers do not get super dirty. One thing that I have noticed on a few other revolvers is cleaning up the base pin. This one was a little bit hard to take out. So if you see, I just took a light Scotch-Brite pad to that, just to make it a little easier to remove, because I do like to clean my revolvers every time I shoot, just to get the most life out of them. And then to put it back together, you'll just take it back to that half cock, swing out your loading gate. That's the front of your cylinder, and that's the rear. You're going to drop it in, and it'll actually sit a little farther to one side. Then you hold your cylinder in, take your base pin, and you're going to slide it in there, just into the hole, and push the button, the retainer. Now you might have to find where your cylinder is. Once you do, right in, button will click back out. And that's all there is to it. And then, you know, you should function check it. Make sure that it revolves. But for the money, these are awesome revolvers. I just have not seen anything on their Birdsheads. And truth be told, with their new Heritage Barkeep coming out, it has the traditional square butt, but with a 2-inch barrel and no ejector. I think the Birdshead would be awesome for that. And these are actually factory Heritage grips that are on here. It originally came with black pearl grips, which I just thought they were a little girly. But I could not find the gun without any other grips. So I bought it knowing that I would have to put a little bit of money in it. But for a first gun, or even just a cheap plinker, I think these are awesome. They have some weight to them, so they don't kick at all. The real downside would be being a 6-shot revolver. I mean, if you're in a range situation, it's okay to load 6, as long as you are conscious of what you're doing. If you're just loading on a table and then going straight to shooting, it's okay to load 6. If you're carrying it on you, even with that manual safety, I would still only load 5, just for the sole fact of safeties can fail. And you can actually see the red dot right there. It's on fire. And then when you put the safety on, it pushes that hammer away where it's blocking it from hitting the firing pin. Traditionally, with single action revolvers, that's how you want to load them. If you were to get like an old model Ruger, let's just say 44 Magnum single action, that didn't have their transfer bar system, that's how you'd want to load it. And that's how they used to carry their, you know, Colt single action armies, the 1873s, things like that. So yeah, if you guys are interested in, even if you can't find a Birdshead Heritage Rough Rider, if you buy one, This grip frame is $30, comes with the mainspring in it, and it's literally just a screw-on ordeal. It's got 2 screws down there behind the trigger guard, 1 up front, and then it has 2 in the rear. And you can just screw it right on, which I think on that Heritage Barkeep would be fantastic. And then these grips, I think they were like $20 or $30 on Heritage's website. So yeah, it's not, I mean, still, you're getting a gun for under $200. That's awesome to me. This is actually just a BPS Woodsman knife that I've got sitting there just for looks. Pretty nice knife. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about the Heritage Rough Rider in 4 3/4 inch or with the Birdshead grip, I've also had the traditional square butt 6.5 inch barrel. Shot a lot of 22 Magnums out of them. You can tell the 22 Magnum cylinder difference because it says 22 WMR on it, but it's also smooth. It's not fluted like this one is, where it's got the notches cut out in it. If you guys have any questions, anything that you really need help with, I guess, I don't know. I've had a lot of experience with that style of revolver. They're pretty simple on the inside. I mean, there are very few parts to these guns. Even if you say found an old FIE E15 or Model Tex, or they got a few different ones. They're all basically the same gun with different finishes, grips. So they even had some in like a stainless or like a nickel plated. I think they're nickel plated because I think these guns were like $75 when they were new. So I don't think that you were going to get a stainless one. But as you can see, this one, it's the same thing as the Heritage. It's like a painted, and it'll come off over time, exposing that like gray zinc alloy. This is not magnetic or anything. And without the receiver, the steel barrel, and the steel cylinder, this is light. It just doesn't weigh anything. So I don't know. If you could find one of those that maybe needs a little bit of work, find the parts on Numerich Gun Parts, that'd be cool. That's how I got this one, and I ran it for years. It actually needed a new hand, the thing that revolves the cylinder, which cost me like $7. So if you could find one of those, or you get a brand new Heritage and just want to do some customizing. I mean, honestly, I haven't done too much on this. I do know a lot of guys don't recommend doing trigger jobs on them just because they don't really agree with it. You could break your gun, void the warranty from Heritage. The trigger pull's not that bad. It has nearly no creep. It's a single action, guys. It just breaks so cleanly. And I don't know. I think that it's an awesome little plinker. And I really think that it should be everybody's first gun. Just like you should have a bolt action of some kind, or a pump action, or a lever action. I mean, just you mechanically cycling the action just makes for such a great experience. I mean, granted, I do love my Buckmark, but I don't know. It just doesn't have the soul that a single action does. And I actually got a deal on this one. This thing is gorgeous. But I love that. I also love my SIGs. But it's a different animal. This is not a gun you're going to use for self-defense. This is a plinking gun. You might take a small game animal with it. They also make Snake Shot, which has a plastic end on the 22 shell filled with a bunch of BBs. You could shoot snakes or rodents. I mean, that'd be something you could even take down to your basement if you don't want to, you know, I don't know, melee kill a mouse. I mean, you could just use that. These are also super quiet with subsonics. They're just a fun gun to have, and you know, for the price, I don't really think you can go too wrong. There's only a few pistols out there that are cheaper than a Heritage Rough Rider, and then I think just the standard 6.5 inch square butt Heritage and 22 long rifle. I think that's one of the cheapest guns you can buy, right around $125. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, or you know, you like this video, if you have any critiques on my videos, I'd appreciate it. Just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks.